Time for a round of overrated or underrated. I'm going to read out a list of things and you are going to tell me if they're overrated or underrated. So first up, we have a suggestion by Harrison, which is fully upgrading an existing bike instead of buying new at the same cost.
This is very relevant.
It is, isn't it?
The project that me and Nick did while you guys were away.
Is that's live now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's called...
What's it called?
Putting £10,000 of upgrades into a tri-ban.
So Harrison, go and watch that video.
Scenario. It's not the normal level of upgrades that you do, which we pointed out in the video, and we wanted to just experiment, see what would happen putting really expensive parts on an affordable frame. I think it went quite well. It was a fun video to make. The extent of the upgrades was excessive. We don't need stuff that expensive.
Yes.
But yeah, underrated.
So my opinion on this is if the frame meets a minimum standard, which means that it's compatible with the future or the likely period of time that you are going to keep that bike, then upgrading a lower priced frame will yield fantastic results.
Where is that line? For example...
Disc brake through axles seems to be the minimum requirements for me at this point.
Really?
Yeah.
You think that far? So you think what we did shouldn't be done?
Not that it shouldn't be done, I wouldn't do it.
So the bike, for the listeners, was quick release.
Quick release axles.
And we had to use adapters to fit modern through-axle wheels onto it.
Yeah.
That's not to say you shouldn't if you've got a tri-ban, you shouldn't just upgrade it a little bit. You're just saying you wouldn't put the same amount of money in.
Yeah, so say for example, I had, I don't know, because it's saying here the same cost, £3,000, and I've got a bike which is a 600 quid bike, but it does have through axles and it is disc brakes, then I would be very comfortable putting much better quality wheels on it, a much better finishing kit on it, potentially upgrading the group set, but absolutely last. Rather than getting rid of that bike and spending £3,000 on a completely new bike. This is assuming that I actually like the geometry of the bike as well. I've always been a big advocate for getting good quality, cheaper frames and putting really good stuff on it. My old bikes were usually top-end alloy bikes. So I had a Cade 12 that had a rim brake Cade 12 that had Parcours wheels on it, carbon finishing kit, Dura-Ace mechanical group set on it. It weighed just over 7 kilos. It was mint to use.
It's a very good frame, though.
Yeah, of course. But this is what I'm saying, though. It's a good frame, and it has the potential to benefit from these upgrades. I had a Specialized Alley Sprint, same thing, same group set, same setup. It was mint. The frame was good enough that it was worth putting that stuff into it. Would I... using the tri-ban that we used in this video, would I want to spend £2,000 on that bike? Probably not. But you did spend £10,000 on that bike and it rides really well.
I think you could spend £1,000 and it would be good. Transformed.
Yes.
Yeah. It would really make it a significantly better bike.
Yeah.
But then it's diminishing returns past that point.
If you're starting off with what's above entry level, whatever the category is above entry level, so you have a frame that is through axle and disc brake and you're happy with it, then
I would upgrade it.
I disagree. I think the line is further. I would say as long as it fits and as long as it has a replaceable mech hanger, then I would be happy to upgrade it. Because don't forget, even if the frame is even further on the more affordable end of the spectrum, and it has a heavy fork in it, you can replace it carbon fork and do things like that.
It gets complicated though.
Yeah, complicated. But people like a project, don't they? I'm not saying it's going to be easy. It'd be harder the older school all the parts are and all the fittings. But yeah, like the £350 tri-ban RC 120, I think it's called, no replaceable mech hanger. The Walmart bike, no replaceable mech hanger, and it's arguably not worth upgrading. But the line is the one we started with.
I do find it amusing how aggressive you are for replaceable mech hangers.
Yeah, so you drop your bike, and then it's an alloy frame. You bend that. It's not bending back. You haven't got that many goes.
I just don't think you're going to bend it though. I think you'd have to really bash it to pieces. An alloy frame.
Well, the Walmart one is done. I had it on the work stand. I came in.
Is it alloy? Or is it steel?
Oh, yeah, good point. It's steel, that.
Because if it's steel, you can cut it off, put a new one on.
Well, you bend it back.
Or bend it back.
Bend it back loads.
I think that, and I'm pretty certain you'll agree with me, good wheels / tyres makes an insane difference to a bike. So if you have a bike and it already fits you, it feels good, you like it, but you just want to, you're feeling flush, you want to spend a bit of money, you could spend money on a set of wheels and it will make such a difference to the bike over basically anything else.
And the big wheel manufacturers all seem to make around £1,000 versions of their carbon wheels now. What Envy do, Foundation, Zip, you had 303S.
Yeah.
Scope do 2 versions of their wheels, one like £3,000 and then one £1,000 version. I can't remember the name.
If you can tolerate a hideous freewheel sound, DT Swiss will have some options around there as well.
You really hate that, don't you?
That's so bad.
It's like deep.
It's just loud. It's like obnoxious.
No, I like the loud noise.
One of the benefits as well of fully upgrading an existing bike is that you don't have to pay out in a lump. I mean, having said that, there's a lot of finance options on new bikes as well, but it's saying the same cost. It's not saying that the cost has to go out all at once. Mm-hmm. By the time you fully upgrade your bike, it might have cost you, for example, $3,000. But if you've been able to do that over 3 years or however long, do you know what I mean? Yeah. And you might, if you're getting secondhand parts as well, you actually might be getting a part that's worth $1,000, but you're spending
and it's just
quid
fun and you learn stuff.
Can I throw something into the mix here though?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Typically, if you're buying a complete bike, they will be factoring in discounts on the finishing kit usually. So a £3,000 complete bike is probably is better value than the individual components bought.
Unless you find a really good price for the components.
Yes, which I think you used to be able to back in the Wiggle days 10 years ago when they used to just basically undercut every shop in the entire world. But now the demise of Wiggle is perhaps giving bike shops a bit more power again, I guess. So there's a spanner to throw in there.
Or if you've got a rim brake bike, there's loads of good stuff on eBay now as well. So actually, oh yeah, I've been looking, my rim brake bike, I want to change the wheels because they're carbon spoke elite wheels and they're very harsh. So I wanted to change those after riding the Envies that we stole from Nick's shop for that upgrade video. I now want Envies. It's blowing my mind. I don't know, someone who really understands crosswinds needs to explain it, why they don't move around. They're really, really good. And the rim brake version of those Envies on eBay are about £1,000. I'm tempted.
I think Nick must have got into our heads because he's been on about doing rim brake stuff with electric gears for like probably the last 4 or 5 months.
Yeah.
And for some reason, all of a sudden now I've got this idea of rebuilding my Moss bike with SRAM Force or something or other, but with keeping, being a rim brake bike. He must have subliminally got into our heads and been like, build your rim brake bike, spend money on rim brake stuff.
Brakes still don't work, but and that's with, maybe it's the rims.
It's not.
Maybe a set of Envies will be better. They're just bad.
It's like electric gears. Once you get electric gears, mechanical gears are just not as good.
Ignorance is bliss.
It's the same with disc brakes. Once you've got discs, rim brakes are always going to be less.
I remember racing on rim brakes, and obviously we use carbon wheels because it's a race. And then we train with training wheels. And our winter wheels, which were alloy braking surface, those are fine. Carbon wheels, like all of the, I've raced fast forward, zips, whatever. They're all the same. There's a lag. But when everybody else in the race has the same situation, everyone has a lag. So no one's stopping that quickly.
Yeah.
So it's fine. But now I guess when it's all mixed in and when you've had a taste of disc brakes, that is crap.
I downgraded my rim brake wheels to alloy ones with alloy rim with an alloy brake
because they feel better.
Yeah, and I quite like the classic look.
We've talked about this for a long time. Should we move on to the next one?
Yes, it's a good conversation.
We slipped into OG podcast where we just argue about rim brake.
The next one is Wyke.
The
next one is white cycling shoes suggested by Kevin.
Underrated.
They're very well rated.
Yeah, they're the best looking. They look so good. I want white off-road shoes as well. obviously I'll save them for special occasions.
Wear them once and then trash them.
Well, I might be doing something later in the year where I'm making a special pair of shoes just for that trip.
I heard that you wash your cycling shoes in the dishwasher. True or false?
False.
Oh.
But I wash lots of other parts. Chain set in the dishwasher. My mum would be very angry with me if I did that in her dishwasher or when I was a teenager living with her. So
when did you do it?
So I'm just saying, look, for the children watching, don't put it in your parents' dishwasher.
Buy your own.
Buy your own special dishwasher in your room and use it for bike parts. It's excellent. Just make sure it's not like a weird Campag chain set with bearings in it. For God's sake. No, anything without a bearing, just straight in the dishwasher. It's fine.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So white cycling shoes, and I love white cycling shoes. I have white off-road cycling shoes. I've had them for about 10 years, and they still look just about okay. You just need to wipe them down every now and again. They'll be fine.
Wet wipes.
Yeah. Well, just water and a cloth.